You're listening to Pointing Pointers, the Point to Point podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 14 of Pointing Pointers. Sam, you look chirpy tonight. How are you?
Very well, thank you, very mate. Yourself?
What have you got in your mouth, Sam?
One of Gina Ellis's giant milk bottles. While she's away in Otoy, I've come to raid her kitchen. As I was passing by, I didn't have time to get home to do this. And as I'm not here, I'm helping myself some milk bottles. Lovely.
Good man. Well, you look great. For those of you that
Thanks.
are listening on Spotify, you should definitely look at the YouTube. And you may have noticed if you are on YouTube, sat quietly, patiently waiting, is none other than superstar Max Comley. Max, how you getting on?
Yeah, great. Thank you. It's great to be on. Thank you for having me.
Well, no, I can't believe it's taken us this long, really. We've been wanging on about you for ages, and for some reason it's never occurred to us to have you on as a guest. So, yeah, apologies for that. But no, great to have you in what's been a really good season so far.
No, it's going well so far. So, no, long may it continue. Fingers crossed.
Absolutely. If you are watching on YouTube, if you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be fantastic. And there's a little bell next to the subscribe button or just below it where you can also get notifications. So every time a new episode goes live, you will be let known. Is that English? I'm not sure, but you'll basically find out. And it as well, you can subscribe on Spotify and other podcast platforms, and it really helps us out. So please do that. A massive thanks as well, Sam. It's been a while since we thanked them, to our partners and sponsors, the PPORA and Red Mills, who we're very grateful to. And before we get cracking on a bit of a catch up, it's been a couple of weeks since we've had a normal podcast in inverted commas. I just thought we'd check in on the championship standings. None other than Max Comley is joint at the top of the trainer championship with Sam.
18 winners, I'm told. So yeah, it's nice to actually be back together, Ben. So I missed that off because you've gone a bit rogue recently. You've been doing podcasts here, there, and everywhere on random days.
The fans have been in touch, Sam, and
I'm still part of the team, to be honest.
Yeah, this is it, mate. The fans have been in touch and they said we're going to boycott unless Sam's back next week.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure that's not true. But yeah, Max on 18 with Josh, who both are having a tremendous season. Obviously, Max with us now, but Josh's horses as well. Even Katie's horses under rules, they're going great guns as well. So no, well done to them. And yeah, it adds an extra kind of spice to the end of the season, doesn't it? Like we've got this under rules now as well. It's a trio of pointing people, and a trio under rules as well. So yeah, no, this will be interesting to get some.
I mean, I've nearly forgotten about that Tom Ellis fella. Tom who? Who? Oh, it's all about Max Comley and Josh Noonan. Oh dear. Hey, speaking of which, Sam, a little segue there for you. Since the last podcast, a lot of things have happened, including Gina Ellis / Andrews coming over the last fence of the national in front and nearly giving me a heart attack. That was an incredible race to watch. Obviously, she took the kind of the safe way round. The horse didn't quite get home, did he? But probably outclassed by some unbelievable other horses. But it was amazing to watch the horse travel so well. Gina gave it a great spin. Obviously, everyone's delighted. Everyone's come back safely, and what a story!
No, brilliant. Yeah, as you said, it's a high quality race now, isn't it? Obviously, yeah, she was in the front van the whole way around, really. And yeah, as you say, it's nearly a graded race, and the horses that are in the front four and finish, they'd be competitive in a Gold Cup nearly. So it's great, and it's great achievement. That horse is incredible around there. If you watch him around there, he nearly didn't miss a beat the whole way around. And yeah, no, she's obviously we play our trumpet to her all the time, but she's a real.
Do we?
No, I don't know. Hang on a minute.
Speak for yourself, Sam. I wondered where you were going before, where you said, let's not go there. Let's not go there. It's not.
Yeah, she's very good, a very good horsewoman. I'm gonna have another.
Right.
We have another milk bottle actually.
Oh dear. And also at Aintree was the Fox Hunters. So we've all had a chance to watch it and no doubt rewatch it. And I wondered what you chaps made of it. Who wants to go first?
Go on, Max. Man of knowledge.
I don't know about that. No, it was a great race. Obviously Irish win it again. It'd been great if it was a English trainer that won it, but no, it's good. It was nice to see JP win another race at Aintree, and no, it's a great race to watch. It's great to watch the amateurs go around there, and seeing all the people that we know and see on the point-to-point circuit week in, week out, go out there and get their time to shine, on TV and over the big ones.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no, I completely.
Sorry, Sam, you go.
Well, we said before, didn't we, the whole way through that it's on the line. Probably, the ground's got to be in his favour, but the trip wasn't, and that's kind of how it proved, really, wasn't it? Like, if you go back and watch that Derek O'Connor ride, I'd say you'll struggle to find a better ride over the national fences in the Fox Hunters anyway. He was off bridle from, nearly the whole way, I'd say. Never travelled a yard. He's just, I think I mentioned on this podcast that, his best days are behind him, but I think he's actually just gone. I did say that once, no, and I think that's completely false. To be honest, that was a masterclass. But no, it was great, and an Irish winner. But we just got to enjoy the horses we've got around us, haven't we, at the minute? It's no point being negative. Thought Benny's King ran a blinding race as well, gave Sean a great ride around. So all credit to him. He made a lot of the running, and he was kind of just headed on the running, beating 4.5 lengths in the end. So, but yeah, and then Animix back in third, time leader. Obviously, ran another great race for Hannah Roach, and Hugh, who's having another great season. There was, turning in, there was a number of chances you could have called, number of horses you could have called the winner. So, no, great race, and as Max stated, it's great to see people we're close to, we see on weekends, have their chance to, over the big ones.
Yeah, 100%. I was just going to say, I'm not sure there'd be too many people that'd be delighted to see JP have a winner in the Fox Hunters, but you cannot deny that ride that Derek O'Connor gave the horse, and it was exceptional, and it's nice to see.
I say that though. I think I don't know why people should knock that, because he put so much into the sport, and I think people like him should be rewarded, and whether it's in the Fox Hunters or in the Grand National, as he's done.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but he's got plenty of other opportunities, hasn't he? Whereas people that own a pointer in the UK can't run a horse in all the other races that he can. So I don't know. I mean, it's one for another time, Sam. One for another time.
Okay. You're going to lose to that one, by the way.
Well, listen, I'm saying that, Sam, because people who are listening will be delighted to know it's going to be a fairly short episode, because Sam's got to go to a surprise party. So anyone who's really upset that they didn't get a full hour out of us, his email address is Sam D. I don't even know what it is. Don't worry, Sam, you say.
Don't put my email address out on public forum, for God's sake. We know why.
Don't mention the forum, Sam. Don't mention the forum. Other things that have happened. We have a new CEO of the PPA, which is great. I've mentioned it on the Nick Look section that we do, but we haven't had an actual podcast since then. And it's exciting, I think. I mean, we all, I think, are fairly unanimous in saying that Pete's done a great job. And I've not met this new man, but a few people I know have, and said that really hopeful that he's going to be great. Max, have you? I nearly called you Ellen then. I was looking at Max on his Zoom call, and his name is Ellen. And have you met him before?
I actually met him at Cotley on Sunday. Really nice chap. Had a good conversation with him. Seems to know, well, as you'd expect, plenty about the sport, and was getting really stuck in. I actually saw him just by the ice cream van. I think he was getting really stuck in. So he's enjoying the day out, and I think I'm confident that we'll be in good hands anyway. He's taken his role seriously. He was there with Jake and Peter, and as I say, enjoying the day out and going out meeting people, talking to people. And he was saying he's going to pop to a few local yards and a few different yards and speak to people and get some different views and opinions of what people would like to see change in the sport. And Peter's done a fantastic job, but I think it is good to get some fresh eyes and fresh minds on the job and see if there is room for a bit of change. And I'm sure there is, and hopefully be for the better. And he can just bring a different perspective to it, really. And that sounds like what he's got in the plan anyway.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that's
met
fantastic.
Kingston Blount as well, actually. And the one thing that struck me is he's actually really willing to listen to people. He was wandering around chatting to a lot of people, and he wasn't really doing much talking, to be honest. I found that he was just listening to people's views. And I suppose at this time in his appointment of his role, I think that's very important. And I think, he seems to be the right man to guide the ship.
So for anyone who's not heard, it's a chap called Paul Miller. I realised we didn't name check him at the start there. People scratching their heads. Yeah, good on him. I'm excited to see what happens there. The big question, really, Max, is did you reach out with your right hand and say, "Pleasure to meet you, classic Comley," or did you go for Marathon Max?
No, I didn't. He actually tapped me on the show. I
I see. It's like that.
him and the others, but not like that. No.
I hope he said,
Oh my
"Hi,
God, is that the real Max Comley?
Is this classic probably?"
Suppose he could reach my shoulder. It's that high in the air, but
Did he have an oxygen mask on the steps that he climbed up you?
got a ladder.
Oh, funny. Well, good stuff. So that's agency covered off, and there has obviously been a lot of other racing, almost too much to cover off in great detail. But we're going to look back at the weekend just gone in reverse order. Let's start with Sunday. So Cotley, Josh Newman had another 2 on the board, as we keep saying, going really well. We did try and get him on the podcast to side by side with Max tonight. But he was driving back from Foss last. Katie had a runner there tonight. And James King also had a double for Luke Price. So it's that when you start seeing that combination, you know that they're coming with a rattle. So that'd be interesting. Saw the return of the Mac as well. Macklin back out for Biddick, Sam.
Yeah, no, he's good. Yeah, horse that I think they're going to aim for the Cheltenham evening meeting now. So it'd be interesting to see where he goes. Obviously, he's not very big. We saw him when he went home to chasing. But no, it's nice to see him back out. He was short odds. He only just beat 9th way that actually. But no, nice to see him get another win on the board. He's a podcast favourite, I think.
Yeah. And Mivanwi won the 2nd division of the maiden, and struck me as a nice performance. And I caught up with Darren Andrews about what he had to say.
Hi Ben. My family was putting a very good performance on Sunday. She's actually come on a long way since her education around Lark Hill, as you put it. She was very green that day, and she was a bit shell-shocked by the whole what was racing all about. But the boys that own and train her had done a 6 or 7 mile hunt scurry the week before, so I say she was a little bit shell-shocked to the 2 differences in what a race was compared to that. She's obviously out of Lady Family, and hopefully she's half as good, if not as good as her, and progressing forward. The aim was to sell her, but Aaron, who trains her, basically has fallen in love with her and hunts her, and like I say, does hunt scurries on her. So his aim is to keep her now and have a bit of fun with her. She may go for a restricted in the next sort of month if the ground stays with a bit of moisture in it. We sort of discussed that we wouldn't want to run her on quick ground because she's only 5 and she's, all being well, got a good summer of grass ahead of her, and fingers crossed she'll fill out and grow a fraction, and then we can have a bit of fun with her next season and campaign her right, and see where she takes us, hopefully to 30 point-to-point winners and 5 hunter chase winners like her mother did. Yeah, nice to catch up with you. See you soon.
Darren's had a couple of quiet weeks. As perhaps I've referred to him as Nicky, Nico de Boinville of Pointing, and perhaps suffering from a bit of a poor form in the Hendo yard. I'm not sure what's going on really, Darren, but nice to see you win on something anyway. Also at the weekend was High Easter on Saturday, and Hornby Castle in Yorkshire. Sam, Max, did you notice anything in particular that we should be mentioning?
Well, Izzy
Obviously,
Marshall.
Law of Gold run again, Sam.
Yeah, Lord God. Yeah, we talk about him a lot, doesn't he?
Hell of a horse.
Yeah, he beat Fair Jaguar, so that's some good form there, actually. There's only 3 runners there, but no, Laura Gold got the better of Fair Jaguar in a little tight finish. Izzy Marshall keeping her dream alive. She's still 14-13 Gina, so she's still in the lead of the ladies' title, which she should be very proud of, no matter what the outcome is. To be competing at that stage with Gina, obviously, Izzy having a great season at Urban, great, yeah, won the intermediate at Haista, which is good for the Hillyard, and obviously keeps Alan, tagging at the young guns. Coattails, Max and Josh, he's 2 behind, so he won't be finished with just yet. Max, just to warn you if you hadn't realised that already.
No, he keeps reminding me.
Yeah, I bet he does. I bet Joe does as well. Joe won't let you forget. And the old Tully's Touch, he keeps winning. He must have won a load of points now. He won the Ladies Open with Eddie Holder. Eddie's really actually impressed me this year. She rides really nicely, and she's getting on some nice rides now. So that was good from Haista. And then Hornby Castle, we obviously saw a horse I tipped up at the beginning of the season, actually, Wild Romance, a horse, ex-Scout horse. And that's a horse very similar to the horse you've got, Max, of Bossman Fred. She is slow as a hearse. I shouldn't be rude about Simon Ollie's horse, but no, she's not the fastest creature, but she does keep going. She's very honest. So yeah, very much like Bossman Fred. Where's he going next anyway? Bossman Fred.
He'll go Grimthorpe on the 28th through 4 miles. So that should suit him.
Yeah, we're saying there's nothing like a 5-mile race, isn't there?
I know, 10-mile race.
Perfect. I said I should. I don't know if this is common knowledge. This can be edited out anyway. But I spoke to Jimmy about him the other day. He said, "I promise you that is the slowest horse I've ever ridden in my life." And yeah, it's probably true, but he does try. So at least he tries. And then Joe Wright continued his winning race for Anthony Ross in the maiden, but on by some time, won nicely. 10-runner field and did it quite nicely, I thought. So yeah, no, Joe Wright showing his talents again, where he did elsewhere as well. Ben, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we were there, Sam, at Hutton Rugby when Soldier of Rock was punted and won. I say it was punted. It actually went drifted because everyone backed the
told it
wrong
was going
horse.
to be punted. Yeah, we were told it was.
Yeah, we were told it was going to be punted. It just a little bit bigger than evens and drifted out 2-1 while everyone backed with the horse that Joe Wright trained. He got off the one he trained to ride Soldier of Rock, which duly obliged, and never really got much bigger than evens in the day's trading yesterday when he won the Hunter Chase up at Kelso in very impressive style, I thought. And there's clearly a bit of a plan with this horse. It was the qualifier. The name escapes me, and the name of the actual Hunter Chase I don't quite want to. The Beclear. Sam, help me out here. The Beclear. Hang on. Here we go. The Weatherby's Hamilton. The Weatherby's Hamilton Beclear Cup, which is a Corinthian Spirit qualifier Hunter Chase. Anyway, I don't know if you watched it. I've absolutely butchered that. Max is laughing at me if you can't see him on YouTube. But did you watch that race, Max? It was impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah, very good. I actually watched back its point to point as well, and it bolted up, and it looks like a nice horse going forward. So definitely one to watch on the Northern Circuit.
Yeah, it's come from obscurity really. Won its point to point and gone straight at the rules, and it was backed like as if defeat was out of the question. Absolutely clouted 2 or 3 down the back on the final circuit and still wasn't going away. I mean, I was really, really taken by it. So, owned, I believe, it says here the Gold and Silver Club. I'm pretty sure it's owned by Point to Point Alex, as he's called on Twitter, who is a long-term listener of this pod. So, congratulations to you, Alex, and best of luck with him going forwards. Max, I think we should talk about you. Obviously, we've talked about you a lot on this show, and I think a lot of people out there listening will kind of know a bit of the story, and I gave a bit of the synopsis of it when talking to Tom Stanley recently on the Nicklet Daily. But your meteoric rise from basically having one horse to having 40 in the yard is pretty notable. And I just thought it'd be good to unpick a little bit what's happened, and the journey and what your ambitions are, So where do you want to start? Let's start with that one horse. Do you want to tell us what that one horse was and what the crack was, and we'll just go in chronological order till now, and then talk about the future. So let's start with that.
Yeah, super. Well, I used to ride a bit as a jockey, not very well, but I only rode one winner and had a bit of a laugh doing it. But once I stopped doing that, there was a little yard next to my house that had a few stables, and I owned a third of a horse with a couple of friends, and I wasn't nearly as busy riding out with people or anything. Once I stopped, trying to be a jockey, and so I just said to my mates that we could train this in the afternoons, sort of after work and stuff, if they fancied it and they're dead keen. So I had this horse called Chinlera, who was no world beater, but he was a lovely horse, and I think he won a race for me at Lockinge. Anyway, when you've got one horse, you might as well have two, just to train them together. So
sometimes easier, isn't it? Straight two than one, I think.
Well, exactly. So just to work together and turn out together and that sort of thing. So when I bought Knockadary Flyer, just got a few friends involved, a few people that I'd sort of met along the way who were quite keen to sort of form a syndicate. So I went and bought him, popped in a little syndicate, and got a few friends involved and that sort of thing. And he was a cracking horse. I don't think he won that first season, but he ran some good races in defeat. I think he came fourth in the 4 miler in the evening meeting at Cheltenham, and we placed him very badly, but he was running some good races. We had a lot of fun with him, and anyway, sort of one horse sort of snowballed, and obviously went to him, and then picked up a few more along the way. I think we only had 3 winners that first season out of sort of 4 or 5 horses, and had a good start, and sort of thought probably should look to take this a bit more seriously, if this is the route we want to go down. And so I moved yards, I moved to where I am now, and only had sort of 10 boxes there, thinking that would do for now. And we shared a yard with Lucy Jackson, the event rider, and we trained a few sort of during that was the COVID year, so it was a bit of a quiet year, but it almost did us a favour to sort of learn how to use the gallop, and we work with them lots at Nigel Twist and Davis's gallops, and just working out a routine really that worked for the horses. And it just sort of snowballed, really. Sort of bought a few more, got a few more syndicates going, got some more people involved, and it just built up from there. We had a quiet year that year with COVID, and then sort of came out the back of it okay, and formed a bit of a business from there, really. So then last season, I think we only had sort of 6 or 7 winners last year, but it's just sort of really ramped up this season, and we've had the scope really from the owners to place the horse the way we want to. It hasn't just necessarily been local meetings. We've been able to go where we want. They're willing to travel for the right races, and if there's a winnable race for them, they're happy for us to take them. And people like Mary Bell's stables, who owned Wagner, for example, he won at Weybridge and he won at Friars Half, and having the scope to take them to those meetings where they can win those quirky tracks definitely helps. And I guess that's sort of how this season ended up being as good as it has, really. We got a treble up at Alnwick, got a treble up at Friars Half, and suddenly just went from wanting to be numerically better than last season to actually sort of being bang there with 6 weeks to go in the season of sort of being top of the leaderboard, which is a very nice position to be in. If we finish in the top 3, I'd be delighted. So it's been quite a journey, really, and happened all very quickly, but it's it's been very cool. So,
and you make it sound really simple, and you've been very humble, but I think probably the thing that would stop a lot of people along that journey that you've taken is the ability to get owners into the yard, and that's interesting to me in itself. Like, clearly you're a nice chap and get on well with people, but would you put it down to having lots of syndicates? Or, I mean, you don't have one main owner who's fallen out of love with National Hunt and put 30 horses in your yard, do you? It's not like that. So from my understanding anyway, so is it mainly syndicates, and is that what you feel has really worked for you in terms of getting the volume of horses that you need to make it a viable business? Because it's a fair plunge to train 4 or 5 horses and try and make that pay. And so obviously there's been a journey to where you are, but now it is a business.
Yeah, definitely. I think probably 40-60 with syndicates. We've probably got 40% syndicates and 60% sort of sole owners, and I just think in this day and age, you need, the syndicates to, have the scope to let anyone get involved, really. And that's sort of what we've always tried to do, is to sort of model ourselves that it's not just for people that, want to own a pointer outright. We have, even like 5% syndicates. I tried doing like a little like token share syndicate a few years ago. It didn't really work, but we've always got syndicates and that sort of thing. And I think it's the way that racing is going to go, under rules and pointing. I think you just need to look outside the box a bit, really, and open the door to anyone who wants to get involved. There's all sorts of people that from all different backgrounds that love racing and pointing. Especially pointing at a grassroots level. You've got so many people that just love to come to the horse box before or after, see their horse saddled up and have a drink afterwards at the horse box and get that almost sort of like behind the scenes sort of feel of it, really, which they wouldn't get under rules. And likewise, got other owners who are dead keen for us to get a license and go under rules. So we've got a bit of both, really. And but I think that's really sort of what's given us the scope to grow is having the syndicates and those sorts of people that do just want to get a bit more out of their day's racing rather than just seeing the horse run. They want to have a full day and see how the horse is prepared and everything else.
Yeah, it's amazing, really.
And syndicate kind of a good way to get people to have a taste in what they can have. Do you know what I mean? If they become a sole owner, do you know what I mean? So it's a good like taster menu, so to speak, before people go and maybe think, I actually think I'm going to get one on my own now. So it works both ways, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, definitely. And it doesn't cost the world to have a 10% share in a horse, and they get almost all the benefits of it, and they get to enjoy the journey with like-minded people. So it's best of both worlds, really.
No, 100%. You just touched on there as well, Wagner. So go on. I won't go on about him. You tell our listeners about him.
Yeah, cracking horse. He's he obviously won 5 points with me. I think he won 4 on the trot this season. The plan after he jumped on an lane tree last year, that was very much for a day out, but the plan was always to go to the Maryland Hunt Cup, this time of year. So I think he won at Friarshof in February, and then I think 2 weeks later he was on a flight out to America and landed. They got him over the travel, and he won his first race over timber on Saturday. He runs in the American Grand National on this Saturday, then goes to the Maryland Hunt Cup the week after. So they're having some fun with him anyway.
You're going to be able to get out there for any of those days?
I wish.
That's an unbelievable story, really, and it just shows kind of the placing of horses, about what we've talked about, getting his confidence up, and he's gone out there now with his confidence high. From you obviously being able, you were saying earlier, be able to place your horses in the right races, and I think that's a massive part of training a point to pointer. If you look in the book and you can willing to travel a bit and find the right races, I see at the weekend you've got a few entries, but you've got them dotted around all over the place. And do you find racing in the north easier, shall I say, than in the south? Or
controversial question, Sam. It's a very good one, though.
You don't have to answer, but I'm just asking.
You're well travelled. You're well travelled, Max. So you're getting to see the context that not many people that just ply their trade in one area of the country do. Do you find it more?
I'm going to give my answer first. There would be certain tracks in the south that would be easier than other tracks in the south, and there'd be certain tracks in the north that would be easier than other tracks in the north. Is that right?
I think that sort of the Midlands area is probably the most competitive. You obviously got Tom and Gina, you've got Fran and Charlie, even like Miles Osborne's coming through, Chris will travel with his, and you've got so many people sort of in this area. It gets quite concentrated. I just find that people are always very willing to go south, but not so many willing to go north. So I think it does just dilute the racing slightly. I don't think they've got lesser horses up north by any stretch, but I do just think you end up with a more, as I say, diluted racing, and you can find holes in those races where you can win. Wagner went up there having won, I think it was a conditions race and 3 opens, and he was able to run an open without carrying a penalty in his fourth race. And I think you need to sort of look for those holes in the races to be able to place them to win. Whereas I could have taken him down south or running around here, but he'd been lumping around I think it's a £7 penalty or a £5 penalty he would have carried, and against probably better quality horses and probably a few more of them as well. So I think it's just sort of looking for that sort of finding holes in those races really.
So you mean
For
loopholes?
example, Max.
Like
Max.
a hunt race.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're stealing my line, Sam. For example, yes, like taking a horse that you're going to put in the Cheltenham Fox Hunters and taking it to the Brocklesby Hunt Race. Should we address that now? We've only mentioned it every episode since you did it. Anyway, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Yeah.
I knew this was going to come out.
Well, it wasn't actually. I mean, you just walked into that one.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
You done me there because that wasn't on the plan, was it? You sent to me.
No. Anyway, look. In all seriousness, we actually have talked about it. You've told us why you did it. Yeah, blah blah blah. We don't have to go there again. But what I do think you should get a career as a politician after training a few racehorses, because the way you dealt with that question was quite, you haven't offended anyone there. You have spoken the truth.
With the hunt races though, they're races that are there to be won, and they're the hunts are happy to give you the certificates for the horses. They get paid for them, and like I actually think I spoke to you actually about the Vine and Craven hunt race, and the hunter actually called me asking to put on with them, and if the hunts are getting supported by them and the hunts are the ones putting the point to point on, then why not? I mean, if people don't want you to go and win those races, and the powers that be could put a cap on them like they do for jockeys. Jockeys can only run in 3 hunt races a season, and if they're worried about trainers sort of taking advantage, then perhaps they could look at doing something like that for the trainers. But I think it's only a positive if the hunts are getting the money for the certificates registered, and if you can support a few hunts along the way, then surely that's a good thing for the sport.
That shut you up, didn't it?
Nicely backed it away. Politician. Well, the funny thing is, actually, I've actually just realised that I've probably been quite hypocritical, because that's exactly what we registered Chief Hopper, some random. Don't you start. We registered Chief Hopper originally, I think, with the name evades me. It's one of the Warwickshire packs. Anyway, they actually have contacted me since and said, do you want to register any more? So. I 100% understand what you're saying. I'm just a little bit afraid, Sam, of being accused of double standards, because I think, I said what I've said about Max doing that with the Broxby race, etc. We can't sort of say, yeah, you're right, Max, but then say that Tim Talbot can't run one in the trainers for the race for trainers with less than a certain amount of horses. Like you either say the loopholes are there to be exploited until they're closed, but it's not really in the spirit of the game, or you just say the loopholes are there to be exposed. Are you thinking about it? The steam's coming out of his ears.
But do you know what happens? I always say the wrong thing. So why do you ask me questions like this? I just upset people.
No.
Loopholes are there. Loopholes are there. In the spirit of the game, should you really do it? Probably not. But can you do it if you want to train winners and the owners want to have winners? Then yes, you can.
Yes, I'm just pointing out we can't have double standards and applaud Max for doing it and berate Tim Talbot for doing it.
Once. Naughty Max.
Naughty Max. Go stand in the corner. No, don't come back.
Mind your head.
Mind your head.
Come on.
Oh.
Some people got there. Come on.
It's dangerous us recording this podcast slightly earlier today, Sam, because I've still got some energy left.
Future ambitions within the sport of point to pointing first, maybe.
Future ambitions. Try and win the championship if we can. You
got many more to go at? Many more to run? Yeah,
we've still got a few to go. Trying to pick up a few more along the way, and a lot of our winter horses are starting to think about going in the field now. Ones that have had a hard season, so just trying to find a few more to replace them really, and I'm quite keen to get my modules out the way through the summer and look at getting a license going into next season. So that's sort of my immediate plans. But I think doing as well as we can pointing this season, seeing it off strongly, and putting us in a good place for hopefully what would be our first season under rules would be a nice achievement, really, I think.
And will you keep your kind of a side in pointing as well? Will you still have some pointers to run?
Yeah, definitely. Horses like Bossman Fred, like you mentioned earlier, he'll stay pointing, and we'll always have a handful to run pointing. And I'm I do like these point-to-point bumpers for sort of an education for young horses to sort of step into the world of racing, things a bit backwards or a bit small or anything like that. I think it is good for them to sort of dip their foot into it with the point-to-point bumpers. I think it's a very good stepping stone to running over obstacles or under rules. So no, I think we'll always have a good handful to stay in the sport, definitely.
Perfect. And how many can you have in? Kind of how big's the yard? So is it still 40?
Yeah, so I think we're 36 is full, and we've got a few down the village as well. So anything that wants change scenery or to be trained not so much in the big yard, we take them out to the village and we've got a few boxes down there as well. So yeah, no, I think sort of our limit's about 40. So we've got no immediate plans to go any bigger than that to start with, and see how we go really.
Perfect. Ben,
So I think a lot.
Have a look around the yard. Come down. Have a poll.
Yeah, I actually asked Max if I could come down and ride out one day before Cheltenham, but I didn't manage.
Max, do that, mate.
You said nothing about riding out.
I've seen it right, mate. I see. It's awful.
Absolutely, behave yourself. Anyway, so there'll be people that have seen your kind of meteoric rise in the pointing ranks and see you going under rules and will feel kind of depressed, I guess, that you're clearly not the first person to do that, but normally people kind of are in pointing a bit longer, or perhaps going to rules later in life. There'll be other people, including myself, that look at it as a positive in the best way we can. That actually, if pointing in the same way that we say about for jockeys can be a foundation and a springboard onto under rules racing, we might just see a pattern of people doing that and thinking, actually, I've got ambitions to be a trainer, but I'm going to start pointing, and rather than going the classic sort of Nichols pupil assistant route, clearly that one works too, but it's a much more exclusive club, shall we say? And for people that just literally start with a handful of horses, they can dream that they can get to you where you have pointing and go into rules, and that's got to be a good thing. So fair play.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's like it is for any young rider coming through. I guess it's nice to sort of make your mistakes on the smaller stage, and like I said earlier, sort of figuring out what works and what doesn't work in your own yard, and working out how to use your gallop and things before you actually go onto the big stage. And there's no right or wrong way to train a racehorse, but there's a right or wrong way for the sort of facilities and you have available to you. And I think the only way you'll find that out is by running them, and I think it's very good to be able to like I've done. I've made plenty of mistakes running horse in wrong races, or training horses that might not suit certain horses, and I made those mistakes and learned from them. And I think that's what pointing's partly there to do, is to learn from it, really.
And the fact that you've been doing this a number of years now, Max. You've kind of grown and grown. The yard's grown, as you say. Your knowledge has grown. There's going to be other trainers coming through. The likes of people like Harry Ryle. He's the first one really that springs to mind. Hannah Clark. As you said, Miles Osborne. Do you know what I mean? They're going to be pointed for another few years, and they might go on to do the same. But they'll come around again. There'll be more trainers coming through. So I think it's great to see people going on, and we wish you all the best.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's always going to be plenty of room for young people to come through, and training is a young man's game, I think. And the amount of work and mileage and everything else you've put in, it's a tough job. And I think it's you're always going to have plenty of people that want to do it and plenty of people to come through, and there'll always be a place for it, that's for sure.
Riddle me this then, Max. Sam's desperate to get off. I can see twitching. He's tapping his watch. He's trying not to laugh. Sam, if you need to go, just go, man.
You're right. My battery's still okay.
You don't run that many in hunter chases. Why is that?
So you run the races. Oh, sorry. Carry
on. I guess the quality of horse we've got probably isn't up to that, really. There's no sort of real reason for it. We've run a handful of hunter chases. I've never trained a winner under rules yet. So I need to at some point. But I guess like JB Whiskey will
That will help, hopefully.
he'll go to the intermediate final at Cheltenham, and we'll have a
Fine,
few
yeah.
that will go somewhere at the end of the season. Might have one in that the Cartmel Hunter Chase. That's always a good fun day out, and so no, we there's no reason why not really.
I just wondered. It's not a trick question. I'm just genuinely wondering. I was thinking, I don't see you running. I think you basically run.
That's why he went quiet. He was just trying to get the stats up on his computer. If you're not watching, and he's reading something and he's confused.
No. I was looking on the wrong website really. But yeah, you certainly don't run a boatload on them. So I just wondered if there was a reason it's the type of horse. But yeah, interesting one to keep an eye on.
Jockey wise, Max. See, I don't want to go. I keep asking questions. Okay. Jockeys wise, obviously Jimmy King's way up there in the list. He's probably one of the best we've seen for a long time, and it's quite handy to be able to call upon him. And he rides out on the weekend. Is that right, Saturdays?
Yeah, James. It's more the start of the season. He rides out a lot. Once pointing starts, he's obviously away at the weekends pointing. But I think James is different class. I think he's very, very good. I've known me and James have been good friends since when I was riding, and when I started training, it was quite a nice fit really. And obviously he's gone from strength to strength, won championships a few years ago, and hopefully wins this year. And I think he's as good as you're going to get really. We use Toby K. Mitchell. He rides out twice a week. He's based just up the road at Nigel Swiss and Davis's. He's a very, very young, very, very good young lad coming through. I think he's got a very bright future ahead of him. So we've given him plenty of opportunities this season, and especially when James is busy, he'll go to a lot of the Welsh meetings and ride a lot for Luke Price now. So when James is off riding for Luke, Toby will fit in quite nicely. So we've got a good bunch of jockeys, and Tom Broughton obviously as well rides out a bit, and he's very busy with Fergal and a few other commitments, but he rides out probably every fortnight, and he's very, very good. So we're spoiled for choice really.
No, good. We agree. We echo your sentiments, don't we, Ben?
We do. So thanks a lot for coming on, Max. It's been a pleasure. We'll have to have you again. We've actually got quite a lot of the season left, believe it or not. There's we've still got a good couple of months of this. You've been pleased to hear after what's been another very slick and well-run episode, Sam. What's that say? Fail to prepare to fail. Anyway, we've had fun, and that's the main thing. So thanks for listening. Thanks for bearing with us. We promise we'll pay more attention to the racing that's happening in the next fortnight before we next speak. But yeah, Sam's been on the lash. I've been on the holiday, and Max has been a professional as ever. So thanks for joining us, Max.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure to be on.
And we'll speak to you all again soon.
You're listening to Pointing Pointers, the Point to Point podcast.